If you think branded makeup is safe, you'll probably reconsider that thought after this video. We are about to show you 10 makeup brands that Europe banned, but the US still sells. It's no secret that the beauty industry loves to present itself as glamorous, innovative, and constantly improving. But behind the curtain, there's a much more complicated story. But it's not the same everywhere. For instance, because around the world, beauty products are regulated in very different ways, and one of the biggest gaps exists between the US and the European Union. The EU has banned or restricted more than 1,000 cosmetic ingredients that are considered potentially harmful to human health, while the United States has banned only a few dozen. That difference means some products that are perfectly legal to sell in American stores would not meet European safety standards. So let's get into it. First is Maybelline. This is one of the most recognizable drugstore makeup brands in the world, and millions of people use their products every day. But over the years, certain formulations of Maybelline products have included preservatives like parabens or ingredients such as BHA, which European regulators have placed under stronger safety checks. Some parabens are restricted in the European Union because research suggested that they may interfere with hormones when used frequently. Of course, not every Maybelline product contains these ingredients, and many formulas have been updated since. However, in the United States, these kinds of formulas have usually stayed on shelves due to looser regulations. Next is L'Oreal. This company is one of the biggest names in the beauty industry and sells makeup all over the world. Over the years, some of its foundations, concealers, and other color cosmetics were made using preservatives and fragrance ingredients that later came under stricter review by European regulators. Because the European Union regularly updates its cosmetic safety rules, companies often have to adjust their formulas when certain ingredients are limited or restricted. That means a product sold in Europe may not be exactly the same as the version sold in the United States. In some cases, brands reformulate products specifically for the European market so they meet the newer safety standards. Then we have Revlon, a well-known name in the beauty industry for decades, and it's especially famous for its lipsticks and foundations. But some older product formulas used preservatives that can slowly release small amounts of formaldehyde, which is highly dangerous if used constantly. In parts of Europe, these types of preservatives have faced strong restrictions. Because of that, European cosmetic rules place strict limits on how these ingredients can be used. Meanwhile, in the United States, some preservatives that release very small amounts of formaldehyde are still allowed in cosmetics as long as they stay within certain concentration limits. The fourth banned brand is CoverGirl. This brand has been a familiar sight in drugstores for years, known for its cheap, easy-to-find products. Like many long-running makeup companies, some of its older formulas often used ingredients that later raised questions among strict European safety regulators. So, over time, certain preservatives and pigments started getting more attention because of possible skin sensitivity or long-term exposure concerns. As a result, some formulas had to be adjusted before they could continue being sold in Europe. But in the United States, similar ingredients have usually remained allowed under existing cosmetic regulations. At the end of the day, we need to start paying more attention to small letters. Next is Estée Lauder, a luxury makeup counter and high-end skincare. Its products are sold all over the world and at very high prices. Like many others, over time, some of its formulas used fragrance ingredients that included certain phthalates. Phthalates are basically chemicals used to help makeup, nail polish, or perfume last longer. Europe thinks some of them could be risky for hormones, so they've restricted them, while the US hasn't banned all of them. These chemicals were at the center of debate for a while because researchers started looking into whether long-term exposure could affect hormone systems. Because of those concerns, the European Union placed stricter limits on several phthalates in cosmetics. The United States hasn't banned all of them in the same way, which means the makeup you buy in Europe is not the same as in the US. Number 6 might disappoint many, and that's MAC Cosmetics. MAC is known for bold colors, strong pigments, and makeup that's often used by professional artists. It seems that when products are very pigmented, especially things like eyeshadows and lipsticks, the color ingredients sometimes come from minerals. Unfortunately, those minerals can occasionally contain tiny traces of heavy metals like lead or cadmium, which can badly affect our organs. However, Europe has very strict limits on how much of these contaminants can appear in cosmetics. Meanwhile, in the United States, extremely small trace amounts are still allowed if they're considered technically unavoidable during the manufacturing process, which is why regulations can look a little different depending on where the product is sold. Surprisingly, the brand that also appeared on the list is Clinique, famous for being dermatologist-developed and allergy-tested, so a lot of people trust it to be gentle on skin and genuine. But some of its older products used preservatives and stabilizers that European regulators saw as a red flag. These chemicals can sometimes cause skin irritation or allergic reactions, especially if you have sensitive skin or use the product every day. When Europe updates its rules, brands like Clinique often have to bend their formulas to make sure they're safe for that market, even if the same product is still sold in the US. So next time you hear that products from the US are original, note that some of them might not be safe for you. Another banned brand is NYX Professional Makeup. As most of you know, NYX is super popular with younger users because it's affordable and has trendy colors. Some of its older products had colorants and preservatives that European regulators started paying closer attention to. As a result, these ingredients can cause skin irritation, redness, or allergic reactions, and some might even be harmful to the environment if washed off frequently. But that doesn't mean all NYX products are banned in Europe, although certain formulas have been changed to meet stricter EU safety standards. Then there is also Urban Decay, which is known for bold, edgy colors and long-lasting makeup. Their highly pigmented products sometimes use mineral-based pigments that contain trace metals like lead, cadmium, or arsenic. Even in tiny amounts, these metals can build up in the body over time and affect health if used daily. Still, Europe has strict rules about these contaminants, so some Urban Decay products are slightly changed there, while the US versions can still contain very small traces. And finally, we have Almay. Almay presents itself as gentle and hypoallergenic, but some older formulas included preservatives and stabilizers that European regulators have flagged. These chemicals can irritate the skin, trigger allergic reactions, or even affect health over long-term exposure if used every day. To meet EU rules, Almay had to adjust some formulas, though similar products are still sold in the US without the same restrictions. So you must be wondering why European and US cosmetic rules are so different. The difference really comes down to their approach. In fact, Europe follows the precautionary principle, which means that if an ingredient could possibly be harmful, they restrict it even before it's fully proven. The US, on the other hand, usually waits for stronger evidence before banning anything. Also, Europe updates its rules more often, so brands have to adjust formulas fast, while US regulations change more slowly. To be clear, when you hear that a brand is banned in Europe, it usually just means certain ingredients aren't allowed, not the whole company. That's why the same product can look slightly different depending on where it's sold. The bottom line, paying attention to what's in your makeup helps you make smarter choices. Some people stick with European standards, while others look for brands with cleaner ingredients. Which do you go for? Safe or unchanged version? Drop a comment. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more beauty tips. See you in the next one.